A big advantage of 3D text is to give some oomph to your video, so it will just lift that basic text. We're going to use this continuous title, which is provided as part of the Apple package, as part of Final Cut's package. We're also going to have a look at a third-party text or title provided by FCPX. This is a free download, so I'll put the information in the description below. This is called Color Split, and it simply splits the text as a nice title opener. So let's start with this one here, because this is using just basic text. And so let's look over in the inspector now. The inspector is only showing part of the area here, so if we double click this at the top, then the inspector fills that whole space there, moves these other items along. So looking at this text, we can see that we have a basic text there, and we've got the word Roman soldiers, which looks sort of fairly uninteresting. We can do those normal things like increasing the size of it, but in this case we're going to take that a little bit further, and we're going to select the 3D text down the bottom here. And when we look at that now, we can see that we have a number of different options here. The first thing to do with 3D text is to give it some aspect. Looking at it flat like it is here now, or square on, you can hardly see any of the 3D effect. It moves slightly off in that direction there, but there's a simple little trick that will give it some aspect. If you come over to your transform tool here, and we're going to click on the distort. Let's just change the size of the view a little bit so we can see this a bit here, and we're going to distort it so that it moves off just into the distance. Once you've done that there, let's just move back to our standard fit, and we'll increase the size so that it means a little bit more. And now you can see that it has some sort of aspect. If you want to, we could just change that or give it a bit more direction there. We might bring this one up a little and send it off into the distance. So back there now. So that's relatively straight, but it definitely moves off in that right-hand direction. Coming down to the 3D, we've simply got one facet showing, and that's the front. So if we add some multiple images, that will now give us some edges and the back as well. Not a lot have changed at this stage, but if we now start looking at changing this now, let's just change this one to a edge, and we might change the back. For the exercise, let's change the front, and we'll change the metal to nickel. And so now you're starting to get a feel for the 3D effect. To help it even further, if we go to the scale and look at the Z scale, you can see how we're actually improving the edge. Now you can overdo this, so as with anything text, just because you can do it doesn't mean to say you want to do it. That will certainly help that depth effect there, because now you can see more of the edge. We may in this case just increase the height a little bit, and you can increase the size. That just spreads the characters out a little bit. Also the tracking will do a similar thing there. Let's move that off in this direction now, and we'll bring it a little bit lower. And I'm not very happy with the blue, so we're going to change that to something else, something more dramatic. And we've got paint there. Why don't we go for the red car paint? Now that's definitely got that Roman soldier effect to it. So that's given us now the depth. There's also many other items, but those gives you the basic. The important one is the Z, which changes that depth, and that definitely gives you more of a 3D effect. And then the other one to remember is the Distort, so that you could take the words off into the distance. So now we've looked at that, let's have a look at the third-party effect, and we can do something similar with this here. At the moment, it's simply a two-dimensional text. So if we select Rome birthday there and select on this and come and make it 3D, and because it's square on, again, we don't have much of that effect. So let's now use the Z that we looked at before, and that gives us now some definite more of a 3D effect. We'll add another item, so let's add the back, and we'll make that into metal. We can also change the rotation. See how we can change it to rotate into the distance a little. And the Y is definitely one of those letters that you've got to be careful with. I think we might change this one here to something brighter. So the plastic, let's change that to, in this case, blue. And that gives that depth there to it. So we can also come to the rotation here, and you can see how you can rotate it. So that's built up a much more dramatic effect. Let's just change the front one. Let's put some concrete in it. And that's given it a definite feel of depth and solidity. It's really solid in your face.